Now let's talk to the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Public Affairs, Ajuri Ngelale, who joins us from Abuja for more on this new development. Well, this is coming some 2 or 3 years after President Buhari himself did not assent to the harmonized version of the document given legal and constitutional reasons. Talk to us now about what this means for the Buhari presidency and its plans to reform the country's oil sector.
Thank you very much for this opportunity, my dear brother. Let me just say that this is really an extension of the very effective and hard work of President Muhammadu Buhari and his administration in ensuring that we have wholesale reforms, wide-ranging reforms of the nation's oil and gas sector. It's been a subject of national conversation for several decades, but this is a president who's now putting it into manifest action and expression. So today, very historic, obviously, with the assent of the Petroleum Industry Bill. The key is what is in it for Nigerians. And the focus of the president is making sure that we maximize the output of our oil and gas potentials. Really manifest those so that we can actually use those maximized revenues for the diversification into agriculture, solid minerals, manufacturing, etc. And so what this PIB it really is going to put in place is really seeking to transit the NNPC from what was really effectively a government bureaucracy into what is going to be a commercial entity operating as a limited liability company, independent of government, really in many ways, and its funding, making sure that we have very clear provisions for sustainable prosperity within the host communities with the establishment of the Host Community Development Trust, in which effectively international oil companies and private sector players in the sector are now going to be providing 2.5% of their annual actual operating expenditure to the provision of capital projects and intangible infrastructure for the oil and gas producing communities in this country. That's very important because we know what the history is. We've seen the NDDC over the last 20 or so years fritter away trillions of naira and billions of dollars just to be placed in the pockets of elites. The president said, no more of that. We are going to do business the right way. We're going to do it the way Aramco does it in Saudi Arabia, the way Rosneft is doing it in Russia. We're going to have a limited liability company that is transparent, that provides annual audit reports to the public in a way that the Nigerian public has not been accustomed to. So we're really excited about the predictability that this provides for investors moving forward.
I understand your optimism, Mr. Ngelale, but it's not shared by everyone. You recall that after this bill was passed into law sometime in July, it raised some reaction, particularly from the Niger Delta. And I'm referring to the 3% you just talked about allocated for host communities and the 30% profit share for oil exploration in frontier basins. There are people who are now saying that the president perhaps wasn't paying too much attention or wasn't paying attention at all to the Niger Delta, the concerns from that area of the country before signing this document.
Well, I think we should acknowledge the fact that the PIB is really, another step in a direction. It is not the only measure this administration has taken. Let me give you a primary example of that. You would recall in approximately November 2019, it was this administration that passed into law under the 9th National Assembly the Deep Offshore Production Sharing Contract Act Amendment, which in effect adjusted the nature of how we collect royalties from international oil companies for deep offshore production, which of course, as we all know, is the overwhelming majority of the revenue base in the sector right now. So when you look at the billions of dollars that we've saved, that money is not just going to the federal government. That money, of course, is being shared across tiers to the tune of 48% of the state and local governments, not to mention the 13% derivation enjoyed by those said Niger Delta states. I am from River State. I have a deep understanding of the failure of administrators to take advantage of the financial opportunities they've been provided by the sector over the years. What this legislation seeks to do is to say, look, we cannot afford to continue keeping these massive volumes of money in the hands of politicians and political elites. We need to make sure that we have an independent mechanism through this Host Communities Development Trust that would see to the effective administration of those resources so that you have tangible social and developmental infrastructure on the ground for those host communities to enjoy, so that we don't have the kind of political and economic and social instability that we've all seen in the Niger Delta region. I think it's really a testament to the failure of governance in the region since 1999. That we've had the kind of restiveness that we've had. This bill seeks to really move us in a different direction, in a much greater direction. And I think it's very important to note also that you do not expect a situation where, you know, the kind of whimsical nature by which the sector was being run over the course of previous decades, that when you take money out of the hands of political elites, you don't expect them to keep quiet. Of course, there's going to be rebellion. Of course, there's going to be dissent. But the president is determined that this is the moment in our history that we must do things the right way, that we must ensure that that sector effectively positions the nature for the global economy of tomorrow that's going to be based on ICT, based on manufacturing, based on effective production within productive sectors of the economy, and not merely oil and gas. And I think any well-meaning Nigerian who is not politically biased, who recognizes that for decades we have run away from getting this legislation done, will recognize that in conjunction with the Deep Offshore Production Sharing Contract Act Amendment, and now the PIB, the president is moving us fundamentally in a different direction than we have been going. And I think Nigerians will see in the end, posterity will judge President Muhammadu Buhari very well for what he's doing for this country.
Well, the ceremonial part of this process is expected on Wednesday, and we'll now have to wait to see what happens thereafter. Even did this act will deliver on its promise of providing legal, governance, regulatory and fiscal framework to the Nigerian petroleum industry. Senior Special Assistant to the President on Public Affairs, Ajuri Ngelale, thank you for talking to us.
It's been a great privilege. God bless you.